I've never done an unboxing before. I started doing these boxes for $20 just because I'm trying to add to my surplus of prepper stuff. So bear with me. You know, my voice is kind of messed up right now. It's been pretty cold outside, so I'm going to, this is from Shit Hits the Fan. You gotta understand that, SHTF. This is one of the knives that came with one of the previous kits. Forgive me, I just got off work, so it's like spring loaded, fairly decent metal. It's not like, this, China made. But even for the cheap knives, when you get stuff like this, they're really decent for the, what they are. They will last. It's not like you go and pay $20 for some. I'm gonna show you later that I do have some knives that were like $20 and better that just weren't worth $20. Okay, well, I don't want to ramble on. I will get better at this as I go. Kind of anxious to see what this was. I was throwing this together real quick because of the deal. But as you open your package, you'll get it once a month, and it'll be around the 15th that they charge you for it. So far, I've been pretty pleased with all the stuff that I got, because even with this knife, it came with this whole deal here, paracord. And another neat thing about it is this one doesn't have it, but it's the regular knife. As I said, these are cheaper knives, but they are very handy. The snaps are kind of hard to control. See, same, and it's got a pretty good edge on it too. I didn't put any kind of edge to it, but one neat thing that does come with it is a small ferrule rod and a flint. And on the back end, you'll be able to strike it. Sawtooth blade. Call it saw back right here. I mean, it's fairly sharp. Some of the best thing you could probably use this for. It is fairly sharp, but I mean, scaling fish. That's why, even though it's a cheap knife, it's going in my bug out bags, which I do have one of my small setups. So I'm trying to get everything matching in 2 bags, which I don't have 2 of those. So let's get on with this, and you'll see. I'll move this paper out of this. Throw that over there. Put my beer there. When you get this in this neat little box, you'll see it's all packed in there for you. Oh, I think I'm liking that. Folding saw. It's cheaper stuff, but it comes in handy. One thing is first aid book. Quick reference guide. I was a Boy Scout, and that's why this channel is going to be called. It's called Operation Eagle. And this is something I was looking at also, but this is a self-inflating camping pillow. Say I have not been real disappointed with these, even though a lot of this stuff is cheaper. 2-pack tent lights. Survival whistle. 5-in-1 whistle compass. Survival whistle. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll move the box out of the way. And you got another Timber Wolf knife, which I do kind of like that for a cheaper brand. Go ahead and move the box out of the way. And as you see, with your primary box. That's what I do, $20 a month. Assisted. What's that? Resisted. I haven't even drank a full beer, so don't get me wrong. It's assisted opening. I'm trying to read this upside down. Rescue folder. It's a waterproof first aid guide. 5-in-1 survival whistle. You've seen that. That's a self-inflating pillow. Folding handsaw and 2-pack tent light. And see, they put their what they value it at. A lot of times you could probably find this stuff cheaper, but all together, you know, if you put all together and then the taxes on top of that, you're probably gonna pay more even if you can get this stuff cheaper, because by the time you buy each separate thing and then you add tax to it, it's going to be more. So you're really getting your $20 worth. Now, I haven't jumped to these boxes, even though there is some pretty cool stuff. I'll just read it off this way so I can read it. This actually adds in the ultralight camping chair, which that's a pretty cool deal. It's a mosquito net hammock. See, if I would've got that box, I would've been happy with that, because then you get a hammock. I don't have a hammock, and I've been looking to getting one. So then there's an Undertaker multi-tool for the Elite box, ultralight camping tent, rain tarp, shelter. So that you got it. There's a tent and a multi-tool that came with the Elite box, which that is at it's $90 a month for that whole deal. So then you'd actually also get the hammock, the chair, the tent, and the multi-tool, which the tent, the tarp, the tent, the hammock, and the chair alone, if you went and bought those 3 things, you probably would spend more than 80 bucks. See, and here's a picture of the whole setup, except for the bag. But pretty cool. I kind of wish I would have deal, but I don't have 80 bucks to spend on all this stuff, so I just put that to the side here, and we'll get to it right here. First, check out this. And see, this would come in handy for people that don't know first aid and plants. That's if it has plants in it. I hope it does. Anyway, this is one of the things that I'm wondering about, because self-inflating. This is just sand. It's not a toy for babies to play with bags. It has no information on this except for this right there. Let me go ahead and open it. Throw that in the box. Throw that to the side. And these little cheap deals here, but okay, so if it's got the Velcro and stuff, you ought to be able to, if it's self-inflating. I really don't know about if you let it inflate, can you get it back in, which I'm not going to test it right now. I'd like to, but this is going to go in one of my big kits, which I'll show you at a later time. I got a 60-liter bag, and I got a tote, which turns into a bag, which is almost over 100 liters. So I can actually fit a full sleeping bag in a tent on the inside of it, plus my gear. So let's put that to the side so I haven't. Just go ahead and take a look through the book here. The waterproof book, conclusion. So, and you see, it's actually got stuff in here trying to sell their first aid kits. You know, that's not a bad thing, because it's got information on the Heimlich maneuver, just basically it's giving you a crash course in CPR, the Heimlich maneuver, sprains and minor cuts, hypothermia, snake bites. This is snake bite deal. SOS hand signals. Flip to the reverse side. Showing you, and see, it has a little bit of plant life that's not good for you. So poison sumac and poison ivy, it shows you what it is. This is all pretty basic. Heat exhaustion, bleeding, heat stroke, treating shock. And there's a lot of this that's pretty well good information. I think this is actually a really good deal for like bleeding, showing you the blood types if you actually know it. If you're out in the woods and you don't know what your blood type is and somebody else is, you're not going to transfer blood safely unless their blood type matches. And this is a chart that tells you if it's compatible. So I'm all, I'm not, man, I keep that stuff on hand, but it's really not. It does give you different types of splints with it. If you're in Boy Scouts, you learn all this stuff. Pretty handy if you don't know this stuff already, but you never know. If you're watching this channel, you're probably curious, or maybe you are trying to learn. I don't think I'm going to use this black cloth next time because it's actually a black curtain. Paper is sticking to it. Throw that to the side. I'm going to check these out. Requires 3 AA AAA batteries, not included. Of course. I kind of looked at these. Kind of curious. See, and that's that. Little clip-on lights. The box is side because I really don't need the box one still. The quick, easy button. There's little marks on them. I guess unscrew here. That's how you get to the battery box. Yep. Like a similar flashlight, except for 2 springs. Which, that means you have to line it up with that. See, inside the 2 prongs, you have to line it back up in those 2 prongs. Okay, I'll leave those there. Throw this to the side. That came with an older set. It didn't come with this one. Now this is what I was kind of interested in. I like to get these knives because knives are one of the most basic things of survival. If you have a knife out in the wild, you don't have to have one. You can break a rock and come up with something sharp. With a knife you can do everything. And it's a seatbelt cutter or rope cutter there, glass breaker. This is typical for like car. It's kind of spring loaded, but you have to hit that, so you gotta be careful. And it does have a fairly good edge on it. I've seen people do that paper test and stuff. It's like, all in all, the thinner and sharper that this is, that edge, the thinner and sharper it is, it's been my experience, the quicker it's going to go dull. If you have a good edge that's not so thin like a razor blade, it's not going to fillet meat, but it will do everything you need it to, and it won't go dull as quick. That's even with softer knives. Like, if this is actually stainless steel. It is Chinese, but it's stainless steel. Cheaper handle, but I kind of like this type because they don't come apart like some of the other ones you buy. Now you'll have this come loose on you, but that's just if you don't watch what you're doing. Let's see how good the blade is. You can excuse me shaking and stuff. I have some trouble sometimes. I did receive another survival whistle from another deal, and I think I'm going to use this in the opposite pack. Gives like that, signal mirror, compass, set it down, see, it's not really magnetically, well, the knife's kind of pulling it. Not too strong of a magnet. And sometimes it's just because the water is floating in. So if you actually try to use something like this, I mean, because it is basically a compass, you can't really screw it up. And as long as you move it around to where it's on that center point, that pivot, it's gonna point north. See, I could turn this around, screw up the deal, and go right back to the deal. And as long as I'm sitting there shaking it back and forth, get it to move on that pivot. See, this one's trying to make me a liar just because the pivot's messed up that bad, but it will somewhat direct you. See, now I'm shaking it like that. See, it is kind of going back to north. I'm trying to point at my finger. Well, anyway, you got a little storage. You know, see, and I'm not seeing it being a 5-in-1 whistle because there's nothing else in it. It's the whistle and storage and a mirror. I mean, there's nothing else with this. A mirror, a deal, so 5. I'd say this is a storage, a whistle. Oh, I'm seeing what they're saying is 5-in-1. There's a little ferro rod right here, so you can start a fire with this. The other one I got is actually got a magnifying glass with it, which I think is a little bit handier on something like this. That's cheap, because then you can. They're expecting you to put something like matches inside of here, maybe a fishing kit. And the thread's not that great. See, that's one thing you get when you're getting something like this. These are cheap, but they can come in handy. You see, it does have a flint on there. It's real thin flint. I mean, about as thin as what they put inside of a lighter, but you would be able to strike on that, and you could get a fire started. But me personally, I'd stick this one with matches. The other one's got a magnifying glass, so I don't have to worry about it as much. That's the 5, you know, that's what they're showing is 5. Put that down there. What's good about these little cheap boxes, you don't have to cut these open. Oh wow, it's just released. See, that might come loose later. I do like the rubberized handles. That is pretty. But that, you know, I don't like how the play is there. Not good for a cheap little saw. And it's got a lock right there, I'm guessing, to where you can. I really haven't personally bought one of these. It's got a similar blade to what you find on like a multi-tool knife or a Boy Scout knife. But this is what I'm seeing you get out of $20 boxes here. This is the January one. I will have in the link. You'll see it when you click on the link. when you click on the video, if you're gonna watch it, to get the inflatable pillow, the saw, 2 lights, a little cheesy, kind of handy to have, and this, which that to me is really worthless except for when you really need it, if you need the information. So all in all, I'm rating this one 5, because some of the other ones I've gotten some better stuff, and say I got this knife in one, and actually came with another knife in the same deal, and it also came with this little spotting scope. To me, some of that stuff is a lot more precious and handy, because just a spotting scope alone, if you had to, you could use this to make fire. And you can also spot out and see stuff, you know, in the distance. Keep yourself on track. Well, I hope you liked the video. You know, leave in the comments if you think there's something I should add, or you know what, I could probably get some batteries really quick and just see how one of these works. Prepper 101. Always get coffee cans that are metal, even though they're getting a lot harder to get a hold of. So they're starting to use plastic with all their coffee cans, because you can always store your stuff like this, or bullets, or whatever. So let's set that down here so I remember what direction that is. So that's up. Right there. Just to see how bright this thing is. Well, I don't know how good you're seeing that. Turn off the light here. It's still daylight out. I guess as long as it's hanging in like a tent or something like that, the light will reflect off of it. It would light stuff up. Well, that's kind of different. It does have 3 different settings. That's handy. Well, again, thanks guys. This is the kind of stuff you see in your pack. Kind of stuff you get with it. I mean, some stuff is good, some stuff's not, but you get $20 for it.